candidates calling in. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah,
you know?
it's kind of enjoyable to be on the sidelines once in a while. You know, that's
all right.
That's what I meant.
All right,
wow.
without violating confidences, did you have a feeling going in that this would be a bloodbath for the Republicans? Because it really was a shellacking of the Republicans, both locally, statewide, and national.
Well, let's go nationally, sort of. So as much as Fox News wanted to try to make the country think that New Jersey was going to be competitive in the governor's race, it never was, right? Nice try. You spent 6 months doing it. I get it. I get the effort. New Jersey is blue. That's the way it is. So it was a nice night for Democrats, but that was never going to happen, right? Virginia is essentially, you could call it purple. I understand that. It's a blue state that Glenn Youngkin managed to flip because Glenn Youngkin's a very special candidate, I think.
You think?
Yeah,
okay.
I do. And I think that was the case. Now you had the whole shutdown in Northern Virginia and all those people clearly leaning blue. Like, there weren't surprises. I think Democrats, I think it was a great night for Democrats, right? But I don't think it was this huge blue wave that everybody calls it. They won in areas they have traditionally won. I also think, I don't want to take away that it wasn't a good night for them, because it was. I want to look at New York City. I get this whole Mandami thing, whatever the guy's name is, right? I get, like, he didn't run from being a socialist. He didn't run from it. Mm-mm. But it's New York City. But I don't think those people saw that in New York City. I think what they see is a young guy who's talking about the things that are important to them right now. And right now, that's the cost of living in New York City.
And I think right there, if you remember what we talked about on Tuesday, this is all about one person, and it's the occupant of the White House, Trump. And so much of that Democratic turnout was against Trump, number one, and number two, that it feels like Trump and the Republicans took their eyes off the ball of making life more affordable and easier. And they were getting blamed for the shutdown. Whether it's fair or not, they got blamed for it.
I think that was part of it. I think that cost of living was a big deal. I think the Republicans certainly have continued to tell us the cost of things have come down. The cost of things haven't come down. You only have to go to the grocery store.
Gas is back. For some reason, gas just jumped up today.
Yeah, back up
to $3.49 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what's
right?
that?
So, yes, all of these things are issues. So, I know the rest of us are like, hey, New York City, what a crazy place it must be. They just elected a socialist. But they don't think that way. They think they elected a young guy who's got this vision and is actually going to reduce costs for them. That's what they think. And you need to understand that every election is different. Here's the other thing with New York City. Andrew Cuomo sucks. He's a terrible candidate. Yes. He's terrible. The dude was like a serial sexual whatever, right? He sucks. And Curtis Sliwa is not going to win New York City. So what are they left with? Honestly, why are people outraged this guy won in New York City? I mean, I know why, sitting in Erie, Pennsylvania. But if you're sitting in New York City, you would think to yourself, well, he's probably the best option I have. Like, I get that argument. And, oh, by the way, and lots of other places in New York went red that weren't traditionally. There was a county executive's race in, like, Long Island or something.
Interesting.
Binghamton. I mean, there were places that Republicans had pretty good nights. So I get why they're making the deal of that race. But you look at the other candidates, and you can see how it happened. So people don't understand all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my take on nationally. You quote. Right. I mean, all these things are getting headlines. There are a lot of other races which were more traditional.
What about state? What about the retention for the Supreme Court? Well, did they ever really have a shot?
Maybe early on, but when you get outspent 4-1,
yeah.
And I think that the abortion was on the ballot. Brent said that last hour. I think was kind of accurate. That people saw that generally judges do get retained.
Thank goodness that Walsh and Meade were retained as well, because they kind of got swept in on all that stuff
a little bit
at the bottom of the ballot here in Erie County.
That brought Democrats out.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of the anti-Trump people came out. All of those things, the county executive race we'll get into because it's so unique in and of itself. But
Batista or Wolford, no chance, huh?
I guess not. I love Matt Wolford. I was way too close to that one. That one stung me.
Yes.
For him to lose Erie County baffles me.
Oh, he lost?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That baffles me. I'm not sure there was enough people who knew he was from Erie County. And you only have so much money. And it was, I think Matt Wolford and the Republican judges got hurt by the number of people who came out to vote yes on retention. I really do. I think Republicans got hurt everywhere in this state. Like there was a lot of that too. So you had all of those overlying factors. And I thought to myself, ain't democracy grand? You know what I mean? Number one. Number two, not because I like the outcome. I didn't like a lot of the outcomes, right? But it
was the people speaking.
And the people are speaking. And here's the other thing. Another thing democracy is so wonderful. The people are never happy. They're never happy. A year ago, we sat here and this whole country went red. You look at all the county by county map, and the whole country was red, and Donald Trump's going to, everybody's going conservative, and all the woke stuff, all that is gone, right? And here we are 1 year later, everybody's like, nah, I changed my mind. You know, and that's
it
what
almost
democracy
feels like
is.
there was no other result that was going to happen.
Right.
That basically this was preordained, that it was going to swing. I mean, you think about it. We're grinding on 2 statewide races where there were 2 governor's races, right? I mean, basically, there wasn't a whole lot there other than a lot of municipalities kind of did what they normally do.
Then that doesn't get headlines because it isn't sexy, but a lot of that happened. So yes, blue, liberal candidates won where liberal candidates typically do win. Not always, but typically. Timing is so much of politics. It is so much, in particular, when an electorate is constantly changing their mind. And we do that. As a country, we do that, right?
Yeah.
We think we're setting our values, right? But a lot of the electorate is not. They will swing to whatever they feel they need to do at the time. But they're never happy. We are never happy. We're always throwing the bums out. How anybody gets reelected sometimes. You think about incumbent advantage, but it's not always what you think. So
let's put a headset on. We'll get a phone call in here. Hi, you are live with Dino, Joel, and Shady here on Talk Erie.
Yeah, as usual, you two get it all wrong.
Absolutely. That's what we strive to do here.
I only have a few minutes here. I'm going to reclaim my time.
Yep.
Anyhow, the reason Republicans lost was because of the shutdown, the government shutdown, this stuff with the food stamps. You know, we're going to give you food stamps. We're not going to give you food stamps. People still ain't getting their food stamps. That's what happened, okay? That's why Republicans lost everything. Democrats are much better organized than Republicans, right here in Erie County, too. Sam Tallarico did a marvelous job getting people to vote. What did the Republican guy do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But anyhow, Joe, I wanted to go back to your conversation with Brent for a minute. I don't know when the last time you drove down Parade Street was, but I can tell you, I live in this neighborhood. Marcus and Dwayne Brock are absolutely doing nothing over in this neighborhood. There's no drywall being put up. There's no construction going on since the bank was done. Okay, the bank's been done. There's hardly any traffic that goes in that place. They might have, some community function once a week where people's going there to learn this or, learn that. But as far as any construction going on with that group, there's nothing going on over here.
I'll have to follow up on that. I appreciate your perspective.
Well, just real quick here.
Yes, sir.
Real quick. So, we should be thankful Dino wasn't on the ballot, too, because he would have lost, too.
It's very possible, man. Very possible.
Well, I don't know that it's possible. I think it's a fact that you would have lost.
Oh, my gosh.
You could be right, man.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Take it easy.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Well, yeah. I mean, you did go through a lot. Well, the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost the first time. Can I?
Yeah.
I know you want to break.
No, go.
I found the last hour incredibly fascinating. And, I spent 10 years in talk radio before 20 here in politics, 20 plus in politics, maybe a few more. We'll see. I've been through a lot of the wars. In 1999, I lost in my first election. And I remember the reaction. I remember the anger. I remember yelling at every person I thought didn't vote for me that I thought should have, right? I remember that I can't explain to you or people who have never run for office what the feeling of losing is like, the repudiation of your fellow people, right? And that's how it feels the first time. I think after that, it's just, hey, that's the way it is. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, right?
Yeah.
But the first time, it's so personal. The loss stings. The people you think would vote for you that didn't stings beyond anything that you could feel. And I handled myself poorly. I was a 29-year-old. I'll call myself a kid.
Yeah.
At the time, had never lost like that, and I did things that I still regret. And I've learned from it. I learned from it. Now I was 29 years old, and I'm a far better politician because of it. I think a lot of what you heard in the last hour was a lot of that. It was a guy who hadn't lost, and it's hard, man. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
And I think people need. I'm not defending Brent Davis, right? But only a handful of people understand what it feels like.
Sure.
What it feels like to lose, and the emotions that you go through. Once you do it the first time, it gets easier. But to go through it the first time, I think you heard a lot of that in the last hour.
Well, we've talked about what it takes to put your hat in the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're just opening yourself up raw.
Yes. And then to win at your first run and then
Yeah.
to lose 4 years later, I can't.
Well, to be clear, he lost in the primary before in 2017.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
to go to this one is
This
phenomenal.
because he was the incumbent.
Brent Davis did a lot of really good things. The work he did in the Thanksgiving storm last year is unlike anything I've ever seen.
Right.
Ever seen. We might still be digging out from that storm if it weren't for Brent Davis. I want to be honest. What he's done with homeless, I think is significant. The EMS work he has done. He damaged himself greatly because as he knew EMS was an issue and he was right about it, but he handled it wrong, and he was. I think he wanted the county to take it over because he knew how he wanted to fix it. What he didn't anticipate was the reaction from the locals. Mm-hmm. All right, and I think that hurt him. It was one of the first things that hurt him. May have hurt him on election day. What came out of it though is when you call 911, an ambulance is coming quicker than it was before Brent Davis was in office, and they're not even in charge of EMS. He's made an incredible difference in a lot of really good things. At the same time, I've talked to the polling people close to the polling people. His negative numbers were so incredibly high. He had no chance to win that election. None. And he doubled down all the time on it. He never backed down from it. I think he figured it out a little bit as he went, but it was too little too late. He could never overcome any of those things that happened early in his term, right? That's just the reality. Think what you want. The reality of Brent Davis was his unlikables were so high from early on, he could never overcome them. I think people will remember him that way, but they also need to remember that he's made a difference in this county,
Yeah.
right? He's changed the county in a lot of ways for the better. He cost himself personally, and I think he cost himself a shot at re-election, but he's done some pretty good things too. I can't get into all the personalities, the relationship with council, none of that stuff. I'm just saying from somebody who's done this a very long time, who understands these issues and understands elections, that he's had some successes too. I hope it gets remembered for him. He shot himself in the foot. He did it to him. Yes, it was bad timing. Yes, Democrats showed up in force. He lost by 19,000 votes to a person nobody had heard of a year ago, hadn't heard of, right? Who was had a very good resume on paper. I get it. It's not a shot at Christina Vogel.
Right.
But this is a fair analysis of Brent Davis, the county executive, that I think people should understand from afar.
I got to take my break here. That's why he comes here every Monday. It's the wisdom of our political guru, Dean Pepicello. Callers online, stay with us. It's Talk Erie. Chuck Erie and the Joel Natale Show here. Let's get to the phones. Thanks for waiting. It's you're live on the radio.
Hey, Joel. Hey, Dean.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to address, as Dean was talking about the accomplishments of Davis, and I think he understood that Davis came up short on the EMS stuff because he was more familiar with it. But the other successes that Dean attributed to Davis, he messed up in the same ways as the EMS thing. Anyone that had experienced one of the things that was listed as one of Davis's success then knows the chaos that Davis brought into it and the dysfunction to not be able to see the finish line on any of these projects. That's why he got voted out by a margin that wasn't seen in any other race. The sheriff, the clerk of records, and all three judge races all favored Republicans by a better margin than Davis's race. It's just the one instance that Dean seems to be familiar with the chaos. It was every instance, though.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into those other things. I mean, I get all that. I think what I thought listening to the hour was, what a shame. That's what I thought to myself. I thought, what a shame, because he can communicate. He has vision. He's capable of leading, but he couldn't build the relationships to get anything over the finish line. Would that be a fair analysis?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, he said that he has a new provider coming in to do the daytime shelter. I mean, that's a bold-faced lie. I know who he asked. I know the guy told him no, or I know the guy hasn't told him no yet. I know why he doesn't have the upper room moving in there. He was told that he could have a lease and that Democrats would stand there and sign it to move in April, and then he moved ahead and just threw an RFP out there. I mean, he continually blew up things that he could have done well and gotten flowers for, and that's why he got beat by a margin that no other Republican lost by.
So obviously we know this is Councilman Nelson here. You're talk about kind of your trajectory as far as how this is going to look in the city under a Devlin administration, and a little tweaking to council here. I'm imagining it won't necessarily all be kumbaya in the city, right, Chuck?
Well, the good news is I'm done. I got my next thing lined up, and I don't know how it's going to look. I'm not real familiar with Devlin, and we've got a new controller coming in,
right?
And she's got a great experience, but still hasn't been in City Hall. But we have a very experienced city council. I'm being replaced, and Mel's leaving. But we've got Andre Horton coming over with 12 years experience on county council. It's going to be a learning curve still, but I'm sure he'll smooth that quickly. Mm-hmm. And then Marilyn Pohl, who worked in City Hall for decades.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I think that city council is going to be the most experienced body there. And I'll be curious to watch, but I'm just going to be watching.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, the issue is, I think just to dig one more little bit here, it was a little shocking that the day after the election we get the word that all the taxes are going up, and I got to tell you, I don't know how many times I asked Mayor Schember to say, why not raise taxes a little bit at a time, and not be so regressive with the fees. And I don't know. And here's what we got,
By all the, every government has the time that the budget is due and when it's proposed. This is the day that it's always proposed every year, regardless of election.
Okay.
So that's just like standard. It just happened in fall that it was the Tuesday to Wednesday, that it was election, then the first council meeting of November.
Gotcha.
So that's not anything complicated. And then, as you suggested, little by little, if you look at the budget as it's posted online, you'll see that in the 5-year projections, they posted in incremental increases so that people could see what that will look like in the next 5 years. And this will be the biggest increase we see for 5 years, I think.
Okay.
I think that the budget is very stable by 2028, and that we're going to see more modest. But even this year, this is I think my taxes are going to go up about $100 a year. That's a pretty modest increase. Gotcha. For someone with my house.
Gotcha. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate it, Councilman.
Always appreciate it. Bye.
Take care. Chuck Nelson there on City Council for another 6-7 weeks, huh?
Sounds like a guy liberated. It's something to be said.
So Charlie Bale is the only one, I mean, other than like some of the townships and some of the boroughs, Charlie Bale's the only, marquee race won by a Republican last Tuesday night.
And closer than many expected. Took a long time to get there. The mail-ins really favored Democrats. Now, is that this election? Is that a trend? I think the Republicans closed the gap last year in the presidential year. I think Republicans didn't come out. There was some of that. All these things are factors, right? I mean, I get it. Democrats had their act together. There's no doubt. They were motivated.
Were you shocked at the amount of Republican crossover to Vogel, though?
Nope.
You were not.
I mean,
shocked.
am I shocked by the 19,000 number? Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not shocked. Again, I had access to some of the polling information, and it was, there was.
It was just such a counterintuitive event, it seemed like to me, but I don't know. As far as like, that gap was so significant.
People want leadership, and leadership tends to be about results. It's not just about an idea. You have to get it done. You have to be able to push it over the finish line. He was unable to do that because of the lack of relationship, in particular with council.
Yeah. He came in as a disruptor, but needed to figure out a way to win some votes. And he kind of did that, when it was a little bit more in his favor with Schenck there, I guess.
Yep.
That might have been one of the big changes after the first 2 years. All righty, it's news next. We're here with Dino. Stay with us. Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show on a Monday. If you're worried about the snow, don't worry about it here north of 90, but south of 90, especially like Edinburgh, Waterford, Corey, could be significant here. Dean Pepicello, the Harbor Creek Township Supervisor, is with us. It's our weekly dive into politics here. I'm not sure. Let's talk a little bit about Mill Creek. A couple of the things here. Number one, the yes for the Government Study Commission. It had always leaned yes, but boy, no was getting noisy for a while there, right?
Yeah, I think there was some desperation. I'm not surprised by that. I don't, in all truthfulness, I don't like the change, right? I'm in a 3 supervisor form of government.
Right.
I love this form of government. You can get things done quickly.
But how many residents do you have?
17,000.
That's not a small township.
No, and they typically.
But they are 3 times bigger than you.
Yeah. Okay. So if the 3 of us in Harbor Creek were I want to be careful here. I got to work with these people every day, and I want to tread carefully. But it's important information. If the 3 supervisors in Harbor Creek were the 3 supervisors in Mill Creek, would we be here? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Right.
So.
But maybe not.
What was interesting, we were trying to figure out, like, was yes a Republican? Was that a red initiative?
No way.
It wasn't, was
it? No, and
but if you look at some of the people that were the driving forces, they were generally on the conservative or on the right.
Were they?
But maybe they were. I mean, it is the most confounding thing.
Yes.
And then you have yes win by a pretty good margin. And then you have Harry Morgan lose in what we thought was going to be not a cakewalk, but we thought Harry would, because he was a very active campaigner. And Kylie, she's a physician, not able to spend as much time on the campaign. And Kylie was winning the whole night.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I think the mail-ins helped there.
Mail-ins sure did.
Such a huge mail-in. There were a lot of Democrats showed up. I mean, that is largely what happened. Again, it doesn't explain everything, but it does explain a race like that Democrats showed up. I think Harry Morgan wasn't the face of the change of form of government, but he might as well have been, kind of.
Okay.
Just because he was out there so much. He was clearly he had won the primary, right?
He was pro yes, right?
Well, I think he was kind of neutral at the end.
Okay,
he let the people speak for themselves and said, "Listen, I will serve no matter what, regardless of what that decision was."
But so was Kylie Moore.
I think so.
She told me that I'll take it if it's 2 years. I'll take it if it's 5, whatever.
Yeah, and that's
6.
admirable from both of them. But that was just Democrats showed up, no doubt. The thing that I thought would never happen is they would vote for the referendum and for Kylie Morris. Like I'm with you. How does that happen?
That yes and Morris.
Exactly. Yeah. It just seemed at odds with each other, but that's exactly what happened. I still have trouble. I have trouble figuring the supervisors race out. I don't have trouble figuring the referendum. The people generally clearly unhappy with the decisions that were made. Yeah. There is no doubt.
So was this linked to the Gateway?
Yeah. Yeah, if you think something else, you're wrong. I don't know what else to say to people. Clearly, it was, and Kim Clear's probably the face of it. Dan Willett certainly lost an election. Yeah, I think it was a large. I think it was more than half of it. I think the other less than half of it, maybe 60-40, the 40% is, hey, we just think this is a better form of government for Mill Creek. I think there was some legitimacy in that. None of it, all of it though, to me was started and driven ultimately by those decisions. And
so, do you think that the commission, in how they kind of conducted their public information, it worked, or was there just a lot of motivation to change this government and to change the face of Mill Creek?
No, I think it worked. I think they were persuasive and adult in their presentation, in their research. I find interesting, Grant Philbeck has made the argument that he wasn't against the change of government, but he would have preferred a mayor type and a councilor or people that were elected.
And I
asked the unelected.
I asked folks about that, and they said it was too political.
I understand it, but I think ultimately that commission handled their business really well.
Right.
And I think
And these are some pretty top-notch individuals on that commission.
I watched every meeting. I read everything that they had out. I read the entire study. I just find it all so fascinating. And I just think that their case was overwhelmingly good.
Yeah.
It just was. And then you throw in the decisions on the Gateway and the Shrine Club and some of those things, which are very controversial. They may very well work out, but people don't think they worked out today.
And
right? And the election was today, basically.
Here's the difference. And again, push back if you don't think I'm right on this. The difference is if I'm a Mill Creek resident, if I'm a Mill Creek citizen, and your leaders that you duly elected, again, under the form of government that's current, made these votes to do the Gateway, to do, basically they were following the Mill Creek, Embrace Mill Creek plan, and they voted to acquire the Shrine Club. It's your role not to root for that failure. You shouldn't be rooting for the failure of the Gateway.
As a resident?
As a resident of Mill Creek. Because you've got your chips in on that. You should be hoping and praying that some big-time developer comes in and drops a lot of coin on Mill Creek Township. Don't you think? Seriously.
Yes. The short answer is yes, but the long term is okay. But if those decisions don't work out, and you as a resident think those decisions were poor, then you want to elect the same people on the if-com that maybe that'll work out. Because I
I'm
want
not
it to
talking
work
about
out.
who you elect. I'm talking about that do all you can to promote the success of the Gateway.
But you can do that and still vote someone out of office.
Absolutely.
Okay, if
No,
that's
I'm
the
with you
scenario,
on that. No,
then
I'm saying
then I'll give you that.
The Gateway is decided law.
But nobody went to the polling place thinking, "Oh, geez, I hope this thing works out," but I'm still going to vote for the same person who did it. That's you can't separate those two. I don't think you're voting on the future, right? You're voting on the future, and what's the best
I guess
indication
one
of
of
the
the
future
things
is past
that
behavior.
burns me up about this region is that we root for failure in this region. There are folks that come on my phones and are rooting for failure of the EDDC. They're complaining about gentrification in our West Bayfront. You know, after decades of decline, you know, God forbid that my home value might increase.
You don't think conservatives rooted for the failure of Joe Biden?
I like
Right?
that question.
Yeah, good question.
Right? So the country does okay, and somebody stays in office that
Well,
they don't agree
they're
with.
not rooting for the failure of the country. They're saying, I hope that he doesn't win. That's two different things.
Well, if he succeeds, then he's going to win. So you're rooting for failure. That's just democracy in action. And ain't it grand?
Ain't it
as
grand?
I open the show with. Ain't it grand?
Ain't it grand how democracy
I don't think you can
is?
separate those two things.
All
That's
right. Well, I mean,
I know it's hard, right? It's hard to think, but
yeah.
absolutely, half the country's rooting against half the politicians all the time.
All right. So I got like 5 minutes with you left, and I got to make sure I get to this. As you're going through that evening, Tuesday night, what was the biggest shocker to you?
Biggest shocker. 19,000.
The
19,000
gap
vote
between
difference.
Vogel and
19,000
Davis.
vote difference.
So it was all about the executive race, pretty much.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, just size. Nothing. I guess nothing else surprised me. I have to go through them.
Yeah.
The Mill Creek voting for the referendum, but
For
against
Morris,
Terry Morgan. I guess that's not really fair. But sitting on the other side of the county, those two things surprised me. I think it was the vote difference. Somebody asked, maybe you asked along the way, is it a mandate for Christina Vogel?
Yes.
I don't think that. I think
Really?
it was a repudiation of Brent Davis. I do. And I defended him a little here in the first hour, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that was clearly it. All these other factors, Democrats came out, the retention vote, all these things are a factor. But I don't think it's a mandate. And I think I'm curious.
Dari has a mandate.
Well, it's a city.
Yeah, it's a city.
It's a city.
75%
She had a
of the
mandate
vote.
after she beat Joe Schember. I mean,
True that. Yeah.
and by 300 or 400 votes, whatever. Maybe it was a little more than that. Whatever the number was. I'm curious now. The hard part for Christina Vogel starts now. She was going to win that election the minute she announced, for the most part, right? She was going to win it. There's no doubt. Well, the vote totals show it, right? The proof's in the pudding. The hard part starts now. It's much tougher to govern, even with a friendly county council. County council, I think, is going to have a lot more power than they did or didn't as appearances. The law hasn't changed. Council's always had a lot of power.
Sure.
But the last county executive essentially didn't play it that way. I think they're going to have a lot of power because they have more experience now. You have a total rookie coming in. People didn't know her name a year ago. It's very difficult. I think the association with Kathy Dahlkemper was a really good move in the campaign because I think it helped her a lot. I'm very curious now about the decision to name Kathy Dahlkemper as the chair of this transition committee because Christina Vogel is a rookie. She maybe it's a genius idea. Kathy Dahlkemper's been there, spent 2 terms. I don't know if it was widely popular, but okay, right? Was the county executive. Maybe she shortens the learning curve. But she opens the door for people to say, you're just going to be a puppet.
Yeah.
You open the door simply by making...
It's Obama-Biden kind of vibe.
Yeah. I don't understand that decision. And it's a curious first decision from her. Only because you open it up to criticism that you didn't have to open yourself up to. Leave her on the sidelines. Don't say a word, but lean on Kathy Dahlkemper all day to say this is the face of my transition. Says to people... It's her 3rd term. Maybe that's not fair, and we'll see.
Right.
But that's a fair criticism today, based on what people are thinking. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So let's do 2 minutes of national, and I'll let you be. It looks like the shutdown is ending. Democrats cave. I mean,
without a doubt.
they're piling on the other shows here on this channel.
Yeah, they caved. They got nothing. They got the promise that they'll talk about subsidies for Obamacare.
Isn't that
going to
bite the Republicans in the rear end if they gloat it like this?
Do you think the shutdown helped Democrats in the election?
Oh yeah.
Well, then the answer is yes. Then it will bite. It will bite Republicans.
Yeah.
And the Democrats got what they want. They won a lot of the major races, right? In blue areas, I get it. They held all those seats, but whatever, flipped one of the seats. But yeah, I mean, it's hurt Republicans. But the Democrats totally caved. They totally caved after the election. That's what has happened here. And they are fractured now. They are fractured again.
They really are repudiating.
But they won, right? They won a lot. So they can still hang their hat on that. Be an interesting time here for the Democratic Party going forward.
So does Trump, is this another win for Trump? I mean, is this another,
win. Define win.
Well, I mean, the government comes back. He's getting limited by the courts, especially on like the ICE actions and the National Guard and so on. But pretty much everything else he wants to do, he seems like he's able to do.
Yeah, he's been able to get through what he wants. You're going to see the Supreme Court continue to make decisions which say this is not an emergency situation. I don't think the tariffs are going to go his way. I think when the Supreme Court comes back, you can't continue to say that it's all a national emergency on these things. I get that they've used it, and I know why he's trying. I understand, but I think he may have trouble with that case too. But I don't think anybody wins. Really, at the end of the day, the government's back open. Okay, that's good for a lot of people. Good for SNAP, all of those things. People going back to work. But at the end of the day, people are going to forget about this thing in a hurry. Christmas is coming. Thanksgiving's coming.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got gifts to buy that, hopefully we'll have some money to do that.
And I don't think there's a preview of the midterms at all, by the way, just so you
know. Oh, okay.
Totally new ball game, I think, next year.
But the midterms start now.
Yeah, after the holidays.
There you go. Thank you, Dino.
Sure.
And thank goodness for democracy. But actually, no, we're a constitutional republic.
I know. Representative republic.
We're representative. Don't forget that.
I'll get hate emails. I know.
Have a good one.
Thanks.